Then on Sports Central, we go for our next team prediction of this offseason, and it's going to be over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, a team that went 4-8 overall in the 2022 season. It was a promising start for this team in 2022, a 3-0 start for this team, and it turned out to be another disappointing season for this team. But how this team be in 2023, and what can we expect out of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights in this upcoming season? That's what we'll be talking about here today. We'll be analyzing this team and predict their schedule game by game in this video. Let's get started with a quick recap of 2022. Once again, the record was 4-8. This is a team that, once again, the 3-0 start, it was overall promising. Beat Boston College on the road, beat Wagner 66-7, beat Temple on the road 16-14, so a 3-0 start. But after that, they took on some of the Big Ten teams, and really things kind of went downhill from there. Lost to Iowa, lost to Ohio State on the road. They kept it close against Nebraska, but did lose that game 14-13. Beat Indiana then 24-17. That was the one conference win this team had last year. And then 5 losses followed that, most of which being just bad losses. So 4-8 was the record overall for this team. And since this team has joined the Big Ten, things just have not been great for this team. You consider since they've been in the conference since 2014, this team has been to one bowl game, and that was in 2021. So, and it doesn't help either that this team is in such a competitive conference like the Big Ten. You're facing off against Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State every year, teams with elite recruiting, and they're known as powers in college football. It's tough for Rutgers to have sustained success when you're taking on those brutal teams week after week they just simply can't keep up with. So, the Big Ten is a tough conference, and it's only getting tougher as well. And I think Greg Schiano is a good coach, able to lead this team to at least some success. We just really haven't seen that consistently quite yet. But with that, let's take a look at the returning production for 2023. Gavin Wimsatt's coming back, same with Evan Simon, both of which who split time last year. And Wimsatt, you could say, was the primary quarterback, but Evan Simon really was not far behind. Wimsatt last season, 750 yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks, and a 45% completion rate. Just not very good stats. This offense, I'll just put it to you, they struggled last season. This just was not a very good offense. And even if you look at the backfield with Kyle Monangai, who is coming back, Samuel Brown's coming back, this backfield looks pretty good. The quarterback situation, it needs to improve. So we need to see Wimsatt or Simon become a standout and improve this offseason, and hopefully we'll see that for this team. But, the receiving core could be an issue. Sean Ryan's gone. Aaron Crookshank's gone. Shameen Jones is gone. So your 3 of your top 4 in the receiving core last season are all gone. Johnny Langen's coming back, who was the top tight end for this team last year, and same with Chris Long, who is the 4th wideout for this team. So, the receiving core does take a few losses. The quarterback situation, obviously a question mark right now, even though I think it's pretty certain that it's either going to be Wimsatt or Simon to be the primary starter for this team this upcoming season. We'll see if someone can improve, which is very much needed for this team. If this team wants to even be the slightest bit of a contender. Last season, once again, the offense just really struggled. Defensively, this team showed potential at times, but it was just the offense that really couldn't get anything going. But defensively, lose 1 on the D-line, 1 linebacker, and then 3 in the secondary. So defensively, there's some good returning production, especially with the D-line and the linebackers. So that is something to keep in mind. But your transfer portal and recruiting now, Nassim Brantley, receivers coming in from Western Illinois. You also bring in Jaquay Jackson from Cal, Pennsylvania. So you got a couple of receivers coming in, which is very much needed, coming in from different places, both of which you can expect to be starters in 2023. Austin D, the linebacker, is off to Georgia Tech. You bring in Eric Rogers and then Flip Dixon for the defensive secondary. So, and we mentioned the defensive secondary, 3 losses there. So it is good you're bringing in a couple of players to add some depth there. And, obviously the receiving core is needed as well. So at least this team has done a fairly good job at that. And also not many significant losses for this team in the transfer portal as well. Recruiting-wise, 57th in the country, 11th in the Big Ten. You got 23 stars coming in, so not too bad for recruiting for this team. It is 11th in the conference, but it could be worse. And this team, I've got them at a 5 out of 10 on the future forecast meter. I mean, the reason why, I mean, a 5 isn't terrible. I still think there's some optimism for this team in the future, but it's just now with the 4 top Pac-12 teams coming in, and UCLA and USC and Oregon and Washington, it's going to be even tougher for this team to become a contender in the conference. I mean, it's already been brutal enough for this team, and I mean, I think this is a team that can surprise in the future. I mean, we've seen teams that have no business being contenders in different conferences doing so, but it is just going to be a challenge for this team, and with that, I've got them at a 5 out of 10. But with that, let's take a look at the schedule now as we look forward to 2023. Got Northwestern at home. That is on a Sunday there, taking on Northwestern to kick off the season. Then you got Temple at home, Virginia Tech at home, then Michigan on the road. Then you've got Wagner at home, Wisconsin on the road, Michigan State at home, then Indiana on the road. Then you got your bye week, and then November is definitely a challenging month. You got Ohio State at home, Iowa on the road, Penn State on the road, and then Maryland at home to finish out the regular season. But looking at September now with Northwestern, I do think you beat them. They're in a messy situation right now. I do think you get the win against the Wildcats. You beat Temple at home, Virginia Tech at home. Should be a close one, but I do think you get a nice win there against the Hokies. So another 3-0 start to the season for this team. Then reality hits as you go to Ann Arbor to take on Michigan. That is going to be a tough team this season. I do think Michigan wins that one. So you're 3-1 heading into the Wagner matchup. I think you beat them pretty easily, so you get a nice 4-1 start. But then after that, you got Wisconsin on the road. Tough place to play. I think you dropped that one. And then Michigan State at home and Indiana. Both are winnable games, I would say, for this team. But I do think you drop both of them, so you're 4-4 heading into November. You got Ohio State at home. I do think you drop that one. Iowa on the road, Penn State on the road, and then Maryland, I think you drop that game as well. I mean, November is going to be a brutal month, taking on 4 of the best teams in the conference there, back to back to back to back. So I do have this team at 4-8 next season. I mean, that's the same record as it was last year for this team, but I mean, this is just a team in a situation where, I mean, offensively, they really struggled last year. And I just don't know that this offense can improve enough to win some of these games in 2023. Once again, the Big Ten is, I mean, when you're in as difficult and as tough of a conference as this is, week after week, having to play really tough football teams, I mean, it's going to be a challenge for this team, I think, in 2023 once again. But, I mean, defensively, there's some potential, but that's not going to be enough. I've got 4-8 for the Scarlet Knights. Ceiling is 6-6. So if you can get a couple more wins, they'll probably be against Michigan State and Indiana. I mean, if you can win those 4 games plus Michigan State and Indiana, that gets you to a bowl game. So that is within, I'd say, reach for this team, but the floor is 2-10. I think you beat Temple and Wagner for sure. I mean, the Northwestern and Virginia Tech games probably going to be a bit closer, but I've got 4-8 for this team overall. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you're a Rutgers fan and everything. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.